Tell me you saw Stellar taking a big shot at Ripple. We're going to talk about why they did it and what the implications are. Crypto venture capital say that the bottom is in and we've got up going on from here. NFTs have crashed and XP price talk at the end.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
Yeah, you heard me right. Stellar publicly disses Ripple in the XRP community. News you got to hear. But before we get into that, your comments come first because you, the viewer, matter most. Swarthy Sapien says, love your style of reporting the relevant content. You're doing an awesome job. Real recognizes real. That's right. No need to fake the funk on this end. Bad Elemental P says, I don't like bringing paper into crypto. People need their hands held these days. No one wants to risk anymore. Totally agree with that. You're seeing a lot of paper stuff entering crypto, and we saw what happened with gold and silver. They used the paper to manipulate it. Daymother says, hey, Klaus, thank you. Every day I tune into what I like to call the Honest Crypto Report. With a few smiles, I love the naughty bits on your channel. After that, I check out a few reputable technical analysis channels to better understand how the market reacts the way it does. Greetings from South Africa. Well, thank you for viewing the channel. Thank you for the comments, and awesome idea to have multiple news sources. Bitcoin's in at 96,754. ETH is 2656. BNB deep in the green at 626. We're definitely starting to see the market appearing to have hit a near-term bottom and start moving its way on up. XRP at 242. HBAR right now sitting at 23.1. XLM, well, it's so small with its volume, hard to find over here, 32.4. NFT market meltdown, 119 million in sales. Mark's dramatic 33% drop. I'm bringing this up because we saw that when the whole Trump election thing happened, NFTs took off. And a lot of people look at NFTs as like the bottom of the barrel in the crypto world. So if NFTs are somewhere, well, it kind of gives you indications, right? Data sourced from CryptoSlam illustrates a pronounced cooling in the digital collectibles arena, right? So talking about the bottom. Weekly figures slumped to 119, accompanied by, hold on, mind-blowing, a 95% reduction in buyers and a 94% reduction in sellers. Dang, girlfriend, that is bad. NFT traction volume remained relatively stable. However, with the 1.44 million NFT transfers logged, this is a slight dip from January. Look at these numbers. ETH volume, 38% down. Solana's 32. Bitcoin, 71% down in volume. This is crazy stuff. But is the bottom of the NFT market signaling that we've reached the bottom of the crypto market? Well, venture capitalists think so. By the way, any article you see in this video, along with all the ones, will be linked to everyone in the description below. Crypto venture capitalist mulls whether market is near the bottom. Crypto venture capitalist Felix Hartman, and remember, the venture capitalists are the big drivers behind building in crypto, right? They use their billions and billions and billions every month to fund projects of which what? Create utility. Hartman said that crypto funding rates, payments that help keep trading fair by aligning futures and spot market prices, have been negative for a while, meaning there are more sellers than buyers. Sustained negative funding rates can signal a bearish sentiment among traders, hitting at a market bottom and a potential for a near-term rebound. Hartman also said quality alts have retraced to long-term trend lines, wiping out most of the gains in quarter four. He has actually a fairly lengthy post regarding this. It's pretty good to read. Gives you like a minute to do. I don't want to read it here. Y'all are welcome to read it if it tickles your pickle. Now let's get into this as Stellar rips into Ripple. And again, this does not help the crypto community, right? We need to see us working together. But why did Stellar do this? It's easy. They want to stay relevant because they're not in the news at all. Okay, so I used to cover Stellar a lot. But you know what? A lot of their news turned out to be big nothing burgers. Remember that whole MoneyGram thing? Nothing burger did jack crap for the price. Remember when Stellar was all close and tight with the CFTC? That did nothing to help us out with the regs. And what you're noticing right now, and especially I scrub the news every day, multiple times a day. No one ever reports about Stellar because the community is so small. There's not much action behind it, and it's honestly there's like nothing. It's just boring. So my thinking, they did this to stay relevant. They're trying to be hot, spicy, and naughty in their own way so that maybe they get some news. And this is the most news coverage they had. So think about this. Stellar's most news coverage that they've had recently is what? Them ripping on Ripple. Talk about riding the coattails. XRP community hits back at Jed McCaleb as Ripple feud escalates. Oh, and don't worry, we're going to compare XRP to XLM price wise, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. It started with just a post, another social media comment from the Build on Stellar account. And remember, too, Stellar had to rebrand. Why did they have to rebrand? Because no one was paying attention to them. Read between the lines, everyone. The post took an aim subtly but unmistakably at Ripple, referencing its prolonged legal battle with the SEC. The XRP community was not amused. They made sure everyone knew it. Among those voicing their frustration was John Deaton. Deaton criticized McCaleb's actions, pointing out that a founder publicly taking at the shots at a company he co-founded was problematic, especially given the legal battle. Oh, and let's not forget, too, that Jed McCaleb had Taco Stand. He also made tons of money on Ripple. So he makes tons of money on Ripple. His thing that now with Stellar is not doing anything. So in order to get it relevant, they start ripping on Ripple. That's desperation, everyone, that Stellar XLM wants to be relevant. He pointed out that even though the San Francisco-based company was targeted and forced to spend $150 million on legal fees and $1.3 billion from XRP sales, McCaleb still made tons of money. Even after the lawsuit was filed, Deaton said McCaleb made $2 billion from XRP sales, while Ripple's current leaders were fighting to defend the company, and not just the company, but the entire United States. Ripple was the shield defending crypto from the SEC. David Schwartz also chimed in and said, if you go after the king, you might as well not miss. And that's what it is. When you're the king, people want to take shots at you. This is totally a pathetic attempt to stay relevant. Here's the tweet, by the way. Imagine spending more on lawyers than developers and calling it progress. Well, Stellar, imagine spending all those lumens on development and your price still sucks balls. You can't even break 50 cents. Like, come on now. Now, Deaton snaps back at this, and I wanted to read this one to you. Imagine a founder, and he's talking about Jed McCaleb, taking shots at a company he co-founded after the company was targeted by the SEC, likely with his help. Yeah, basically, Deaton is saying, look, McCaleb also screwed over Ripple by helping the SEC. People wonder, well, how come Stellar wasn't targeted? Maybe a little bit of McCaleb action. Now imagine that same co-founder sitting back, making $2 billion from XRP sales after the lawsuit against his former company was filed, while his former partners were spending $150 million to save the money that the company co-founded. I'll be honest with you. I used to work for a mega large corporation. And you know what? I parted ways with them. I won't speak badly about them. In fact, it was a great part of my life. And even though it's not a part of my life right now, I would never go back and rip on them because part of my success was because of them. Same thing with Jed McCaleb. Part of his success was what? Was from Ripple and XRP. He sold over 2 billion of it. Now let's take a look at the price, okay? And again, I'm telling you, my job is to bring the news, whether it's good or bad, happy or sad. And I used to cover Stellar a lot because they used to be in the news more. And then I realized I do a Stellar video, gets like no views. Why? Community small, the price sucks, it's always been a laggard, and even the Stellar bulls out there are like, yo, this is boring AF. They did the rebranding, which was a big flop. MoneyGram hasn't done jack for the price. They're cuddling up with the CFTC, hasn't done anything. All their partnerships with Franklin Templeton, all big nothing burgers, right? XRP has stayed relevant. Ripple has stayed relevant while Stellar's trying to ride the coattails. All right, let's take a look at some numbers. XLM's market cap, 9.9 billion. XRP's 140 billion. That's like a 14x difference. How about 90-day price action? XLM up 191%, not bad at all. XRP up 308%. So what does that tell you? A company that's been battling the SEC, that has to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in legal fees, is still outperforming a company that doesn't have that roadblock. XLM does not have any of those roadblocks that XRP has, and yet they still can't perform as well. All right, let's go a little bit more near term, right? Remember, I'm bringing you stats. I'm not making this stuff up. These are stats. In the last 60 days, XLM down 26%, not good. XRP down 1.2%, minimal. Last 7 days, XRP down 13%, while XLM down 14%. So last 7 days, very close. Price-wise, 32 cents for XLM, 2.43 for XRP. You're talking like what? Like a 7x difference in price in the benefit to XRP? Now, let's take this even a step further, okay? Let's do this. Let's bring up a 1-year chart. All right, I've got the 1-year chart. Now, let's compare this with what, everyone? Let's compare this with XLM, okay? Let's do that just to be fair because I don't want anyone to say that I have any biases. Check it out. Action, action, action. All of a sudden, Stellar made the early run, but has since retraced quite heavily. Look at XRP has made a couple secondaries run, and look, even the tertiary run was blowing the doors off of it. At the peak, you're talking about XRP up 530%, XLM up 330. Even after the correction, 369% for XRP, 234 for XLM, and that's in the 1 year. Oh, let's do this too. And hold on, let's open up the Stellar screen, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. How many times do I report on XRP ETFs versus XLM ETFs? And why do the players want so many XRP ETFs? Because of the volume, right? Look at XRP's volume right now. 3.9 billion, so essentially 4 billion in volume. Let's click on, I haven't even looked at their volume because seriously, it's all big nothing burgers. 223 million. That's almost 20x, everyone, difference in volume. So what players want to launch something that has a small volume, a small community? Yeah, they're building, right? But what are they building? They're building stuff that doesn't. What about the whole UNHCR thing? That was a big nothing burger. That did nothing at all. That was money going to Ukraine and meh. Let's be real here. So again, if you want to launch an ETF, would you rather launch an ETF for someone that does 224 million or someone that does 4 billion? Would you rather launch an ETF with a company that has a market cap of 9.9 billion or 140? Someone that's up 308% versus 191%. You get my point here? Stellar is doing everything they can to stay relevant. And the thing that really turned me off from them, and I got to be honest with you, remember, my job is to sell newspapers, right? To bring you the news. I would spend all this time on a Stellar video and it would get like meh views. I do the same time on an XRP Ripple video, way, way, way more views, way more engaged community. But the thing that really turned me off with Stellar is this, okay? And remember, if you want to put shots at other players out there, well, guess what? Other players are going to put shots at you. And this is my version. This is using the news. Here's the worst part. A while ago, they did this whole thing. They were like 10 days until the big reveal. And everyone's like, yo, what's going on here? They're like 10 days until, and everyone's like, yo, dude, they got some big announcement coming. Dude, it was an announcement of a rebranding. Remember when they did the weird multicolor looking thing, right? With the Nell Dixon and all the other pictures looking different? Yeah. Nothing burger. So even then, they tried to drum up news. And then when the announcement was made, people were like, yo, that was stupid. You lost a lot of respect from us. So yeah, totally, totally Stellar and XLM out there trying to remain relevant in the world where they're losing it. And if you don't believe me that they're not relevant, look at the volume. 224 million in the last 24 hours compared to XRP's 4 billion. Look at the big trading pairs for XLM right now. You see it? You see it? Nothing. There's nothing big here. Their biggest trading pair is right now Coinbase with 26 million. All right, their XLM USD pairing. You compare that to XRP, and let me share with you 468 million with the Korean won, and at least another 20x. 400 million with Binance. The Coinbase one is 205 million, so pretty much 10x on that one. Yeah, even their smallest trading pair for XRP on MEXC is bigger. Even on BitGet, it's bigger. It's bigger than Stellar's biggest one. So the smallest one in the top 10 of XRP is bigger than XLM's biggest in the top 10. They're just not relevant anymore. And I started the channel off covering XLM. I followed them very closely, but I realized very quickly that, man, it just wasn't fit. In fact, I remember this. They did a story about someone who was neurodivergent. And I was like, come the on. What does this have to do with blockchain utility and building? And then I was like, yo, their whole thing with the CFTC, that didn't help them at all with the regs. What about her talking in front of Congress? That was a big nothing burger. Her with the WEF, big nothing burger. They have fallen off. And the only reason Stellar has benefited, and watch this, you're going to see something really cool here, okay? You see a little bit of pumping. Let me go to the all right here, okay? You see this move right here? Yeah, That was the Torres action. That's what their big pumps were up until the Trump motion. And then you could see, look at the Trump move right here, right with the election. They peaked early and have pulled back since. XRP with the Trump move, and let me do this. Let's get rid of the old comparisons right here, and we're going to go to the all chart. Give me a second. XRP peaked at Trump and then peaked again after that because they're staying relevant. Hot, spicy, naughty, and relevant. And what does it tell you when a company out there is spending hundreds of millions battling the SEC, still remains in the top 4 in terms of market cap, still has a massive following, inking up partnerships, right? And who do you think is going to benefit most when the SEC case gets dropped with Ripple? Obviously, it's going to be XRP. Stellar is just jealous. Now, in terms of XRP and price action, we definitely seem to have been hitting the bottom here as of late, and that's why I brought the venture capital story up. You can see it here clear as day between the 6th and 7th of February. Yes, we did a little bit of testeroni right down here, and that's okay. We got to some lows in the upper 230s, but we're pushing back on up. Then XRP is looking healthier. In fact, what I want to share with you more than anything is this. Let me go to T1 day right here. Look at this. See what I'm saying? Primary move, we retraced a little bit. The secondary move was even better. You do the same thing for XLM. Let me go to the 1 day because, again, comparing apples to apples. Primary move right here. They haven't been able to hold it since. Their secondary move was nowhere near as high as the primary, and they've been on a downward slide. So a company that's on a downward slide is taking shots at a company that is making moves on its secondary movement. Again, it's just another desperate attempt for Stellar and the XLM ecosystem to remain relevant. And it's true, it's been a big nothing burger. And what frustrates me more than anything about this is they can't even stay relevant while taking shots at their competition. I mean, think about that. We saw companies get wrecked by the SEC. We saw Library get wrecked, right? We saw a whole bunch of others get wrecked. We saw staking protocols. We saw exchange. We saw all this stuff happen with the SEC, and Ripple was fighting it. Ripple had the money. They spent a lot of their internal money. And guess what? They couldn't build as much because they were spending money on lawyer fees, yet they continued to stay relevant and they continued to build. They continued to ink the partnerships. And then you got Stellar over here that's tried like almost everything to stay relevant, and they're not. Their price is showing it. Their volume is showing it. Their open interest is always meh. And the thing is, everything they've tried just isn't keeping them relevant in the market. Oh, but bro, they're building this and this. Awesome. Do you make money on building or do you make money on native token price action? Right? How many ETFs do you hear me bring up about XRP? I'm bringing them up like all the time. Why? Because they know there's a massive market and a massive community there. How many XLM ETFs do you got coming out? You got a Grayscale Trust? Okay, cool, awesome. That's my whole point. So I am a little bothered by their desperate attempt to remain relevant, but that's what happens when players aren't. They take cheap shots at the king, hoping that maybe it gets them a little news and notoriety. And guess what? It did. But the market's not going to be like, oh, this is awesome. Good job, seller. We're going to buy now. No. And you can see the price for them is just doing this, right? They made the move on their primary action with the Trump election news. And since then, they haven't even been able to come close to getting those highs, where XRP's secondary move passed even the primary one from the Trump election. Let the price do the talking, let the volume do the talking. And how about all those ETF filings? Yeah, let that do the talking as well. Oh, and when the case does get resolved between Ripple and the SEC, I wonder who's going to benefit more. The person hammered by the SEC or the company that's making fun of the person that was hammered by the SEC? Choo choo, bitches. Don't let the train run you over.